All right, what's good all day, fam? So back again for another segment, and we're gonna get straight to it like we always do. I think the first thing we probably can start off with is Tyreek Hill. What we can talk about is Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill. The Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins has released him, and I think everybody already knows that was going to be the case when he got injured and when they fired Mike McDaniel. It was pretty much already the writing on the wall that Tyreek Hill was going to go ahead and leave Miami. So it has officially happened. I think Miami also, they even came out back in December and said that they came out with a statement and said that they was going to move on from him after the season. So it was discussions. I think it was like, would they keep Tua? Would they get rid of Mike McDaniel? Or they get rid of Mike McDaniel? Or would they get rid of Tua, keep Mike McDaniel? But I believe it always was the case that they was going to get rid of Tyreek Hill. And I guess because of his troublemaking with him being in Miami. Me personally, I feel like Tyreek Hill is worth. I'm not going to say he's worth the drama. I don't want to say that, but I just, I guess I don't know enough about what Tyreek Hill, the type of trouble that Tyreek Hill is causing on a team, for me to say that I wouldn't want him on my team. He's so talented, and he's too talented of a player. Forget too talented of a wide receiver. He's too talented of a player. So I also believe that with a coach like Jim Harbaugh, I just believe everybody respects Jim Harbaugh. I believe Tyreek Hill probably won't be doing the same type of stuff that he was doing under a coach like Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh is so persuasive, and he has. I feel like Jim Harbaugh has the ability to just have you just buy in into his logic, buy in into his philosophy. He gives you the type of, I guess you could say, what's the word I'm looking for? He makes you want to do great for him. He wants you to go above and beyond for him. Like that's how I feel like that's how Jim Harbaugh is. It's like, it's just like that person who's so persuasive. You just want to do great for them, and that's what I feel like with how Jim Harbaugh is. With his coaches, with his players, just anybody around him. I just feel like everybody just wants to just do great for him, do right by him. They don't want to let him down. And if you do let him down, you're depressed. And I think Jim Harbaugh can have that type of persuasion on Tyreek Hill. I feel like he can have that type of effect on Tyreek Hill. I just don't see I don't see the problem with Tyreek Hill that a lot of people are saying. Like, somebody can please help me about what it is with Tyreek Hill. I mean, I know there's some situations in between him and his wife or girlfriend, and stuff like that. But who doesn't have problems with their wife and girlfriend? Who does? I mean, somehow it came out, it leaked on the news. But man, I mean, I've had my share of dealing with toxic women in my life. We hear this side, like, the news always favors women most of the time anyway. So that doesn't really strike me as, the Chargers shouldn't get Tyreek Hill. I don't know too much details about this situation between him and his woman, him and his wife or girlfriend or whatever they are. I don't know the details. I haven't really looked that far into it, to be honest with you. But I mean, I would just say that I feel like the media favors the women mostly anyway. But I'm not saying that the man is always right, but we can always hear the other side, the other side of the story, not the truth. They're very rarely the media will display that. Now, please, someone correct me if I'm wrong. I would just like to know what the situations that people about Tyreek Hill, what's going on with him. But anyway, with that being said, I think that a lot of the Charger fan base, they don't want Tyreek Hill. They're like, oh, Tyreek Hill's the cancer in the locker room, yada, yada, yada. But you're not going to get too many talented players like Hill, especially if he's able to overcome his injury, which I believe he will. you're not going to get so many players like him. You're not going to get a wide receiver like him. If you have the ability to get him on a cheap deal, even if it's a 1-year deal, he's 32 years old, coming off a serious injury. I know tearing a lot of ligaments in his leg and stuff, but if he's able to bounce back and overcome that injury, and you can get him on a cheap deal for 1 year, you better jump on that. Like, I even wrote on a Charger status, I was like, the Chargers used to be all over him right now. I mean, you get a quarterback like Justin Herbert and Mike McDaniel's offense, and with this, and then because with him coming, the wide receiver room will be stacked. I don't think our wide receivers are all that great, but when you get Tyreek Hill in that room just automatically becomes exceptionally well. Probably one of the best rooms in the entire league. I mean, just Tyreek Hill and Matt McConkey alone will be extremely dangerous in a Mike McDaniel's offense. Just them two. I mean, they're both quick. They're both fast. They both got wheels. They both can run routes. And you're talking about Tyreek Hill being a burner, because Tyreek Hill can do it all, to be honest with you. He can almost do it all. I think the only knock in Tyreek Hill's game is his height. I wouldn't even say his size, because he is thick. It's his height. That's the only knock on his game. But he can pretty much do it all. And so you talk about Tyreek Hill blowing the top off the defense and having the ability to work under. And you talk about Matt McConkey, who got some wheels, who's also very quick and very great in space, working underneath. It just leaves room for everybody else. And then when we talk about KLS, we don't know what KLS can do in Mike McDaniel's offense. Mike McDaniel, he might blossom in Mike McDaniel's offense. KLS is a burner as well. You talk about 3 burners. I mean, come on with it, bro. And then, you sprinkle QJ on there if you want to keep QJ, and then you got Trey Harris. I honestly think the Chargers needs to go all out this year. They don't need to stop at Tyreek Hill. If they can afford to get Tyreek, they can afford to get AJ. They can afford to get, Tyler Baum, the guy, I don't know, the center from Baltimore. They need to go all out in free agency. What if they can afford it? If they can do it, and they can afford it. They can afford it. The Chargers can afford it. It just depends on how much money Greg Roman, Joe Ortiz wants to spend. But he can restructure some contracts. He can bring some guys in there. He can keep all the players. He can keep all the guys. But he doesn't need to keep all the players. But if he does decide to, he definitely can. And he can get some big name guys in there. I mean, I'm saying Max Crosby wants to leave. I mean, they can bring those guys in there, man. They can. I'm a firm believer they can. They just gotta be able to know how to restructure the contract and see if they can get these guys on a good deal. But let's see. Let's watch this real quick. Just give me a second.
Tyreek Hill today. Hill turns 32 on March 1st and was set to carry a $51.1 million cap hit in 2026, which have given him the highest cap number amongst non-quarterbacks coming into the season. The decision leaves Miami $28.2 million in dead money, but also creates almost $23 million in cap space by releasing Hill now.
Yes.
Ocho, which team is the best landing spot for Tyreek? The Chiefs, the Bills, or the Chargers?
I think Tyreek's next move has to be his best move. Obviously, coming off an injury, going to a team where he's going to be utilized in the correct way. I think the Bills would be a nice place for him. Obviously, I mean, you have Shakir, who was somewhat in that same position and being in the slot, but Tyreek being able to play on the outside. I like the Chiefs. The Chiefs also being able to use him, the correct way, and it all comes down to how healthy is he going to be when he's recovered. Even once he goes to rehab. Even a Tyreek Hill that's not as fast as he once was is probably still faster than everybody else. I think that's all what it's going to come down to. I think the Dolphins might have moved on a little too fast, honestly. Just in my own personal opinion. They could have restructured and found a way to get that You get that salary a little bit lower with him coming off the injury, but to let a player of his magnitude go, which is the staple of your offense, obviously having Achane, having Waddle as well, I don't think they should have let him go. That's just my personal opinion. Obviously, being 32 and coming off injury, you know how this business works.
Serious injury.
Injury, yes.
That ain't just no ACL. He tore a lot of ligaments and he broke his tibia.
Texas was feeling unwelcome. Now Texas is an open door.
Yeah, that's stupid. Freaking ass. But anyway, yeah, I mean, like I said before, I think that just because, listen, that is a serious injury. I get it, but I want to let the ass play out. Then I'll go back to the video. But I'll just speak my mind on this. I get the injuries, but sometimes injuries doesn't affect the same players like the same way, or not. Injuries don't affect players the same way how it's affect. You know what I'm saying? Most people, especially a player of Tyreek Hill's caliber. So where I'm getting at is that it's possible to overcome an injury. And I mean, with me being in the medical field and everything, me studying anatomy and everything. So I'm not a doctor, I'm not a physician, but as of yet, but I will argue, depending on the person, depending on the body, depending on the type of training that you do, depending on what you're willing to put yourself through, depending on the psychological aspect and strength, mental strength that you have of yourself, I will argue you could overcome. I won't say any injury, but I believe you can overcome almost any injury. I will say that. I will go ahead and make that bold statement. Not everybody will be able to come back from an injury like Tyreek Hill, but I think somebody like Tyreek Hill will be able to, and I believe someone like Tyreek Hill will still be able to play at a high level. Mark my words when I say that. I think he still will be able to coming out this year, depending on who he signs with. This is why I think the Chargers should go ahead and sign him. He wasn't really showing any signs of slowing down last year. He just got hurt. And what he was able to do with Tua, a quarterback like Tua, and he had to really adapt his play. He had to really change his playing ability to adapt to the limitations of Tua. Now, even with somebody like A.J. Brown was being held back in a Eagles offense because of the limitations of his quarterback, so to speak, in Jalen Hurts. That wasn't the case with Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is that type of wide receiver who makes his quarterback better. That's Tyreek Hill. And not saying A.J. Brown is not great. A.J. Brown definitely is great. Like, I want the Chargers to jump on A.J. Brown as well. But when you talk about Tyreek Hill in his prime, he's a dangerous player. He's not just a dangerous wide receiver. He's a dangerous player. And somebody of his caliber who is just scary. I don't think you guys remember like how dangerous this guy was. Defenses feared him because his speed. And not only it wasn't just because of his speed. It was because he knew how to use his speed as a football player. He ran a 4.2. He was using 4.2 speed as a football player, using 4.2 speed in angles and space. And it was crazy what Tyreek Hill was doing. If he can come bounce back off from this injury, all 32 teams should want him. I mean, evidently the Dolphins doesn't want him now, but all 31 teams should want him. He automatically elevates any offense. Automatically. Any offense. I don't care if it's the Bengals. I don't care if it's any offense. He automatically elevates it. So Not all 31 teams is going to go after him. The Chargers needs to do that. And it's not like he's going to be asking for a lot of money. I think right at this point in his career, he just wants to play. He wants to win. He wants to win. He wants to get out with another ring. I think that's Tyreek Hill right now. So mark my words when I say this. I think he was going to bounce back from this injury. I think he's going to. He probably won't be in his prime, but I think he's going to still do some damage. I really honestly believe that. And I believed it when it happened. I believed it when his injury happened. I even said it. So the ads are done. So let's see what's up with this. See what else this guy say.
I understand, but rehab, the resources, the access to some of the methods he has to get himself back to where he once was. I think that the chances of him coming back and being the Tyreek of old is possible. And even if he's not the same Tyreek of old, it will still be better than hit damn near 98% of the receivers in the NFL if he's used correctly.
Well, the writing was on the wall. I'm surprised they didn't move on the offseason. After what had transpired the last game, Ocho, we talked about this. The one thing you can't do as a player, players will forgive a lot, but you can't leave them out to dry. You can't quit on them. When things are going bad, that's when your best players, that's when I need Ocho to show up and be his best. I understand, Ocho, we're not going to the playoffs. I understand, Ocho, you're not going to get your customary 90 catches, 1,300 yards, but don't quit on me. Don't be a guy that when things are going good, they go great, and when they go bad, they go terribly, horribly wrong. And so I thought they would move on in the offseason because I knew he would never have the same trust in that locker room that he once had. Go ahead, Ocho.
Can I tell you something? I can tell you why they didn't move on. They didn't move on because they understood his value. They understood his true value, despite him giving up, despite him quitting in that previous season. We can't let someone like this go. Look at the numbers he's put up. Look what he does for us offensively. He makes everyone else's job around him that much easier because everyone has to focus on him in game. So it opens up everything else. So of course they were going to let him go. But now that he's injured, now that he's hurt, and it's kind of up in the air, you don't know what you're going to get. Once he's back healthy, you know what? Now we can let him go. But you'll never find another one.
Let me ask you a question.
You'll never find another player like that.
Did they make the playoffs with him? They can miss the playoffs without him.
I mean, we can say that about a lot of players on a lot of teams.
But at $51 million, I told you that. I said, Ocho.
But if you know you wouldn't get 51, you would restructure that though. You would restructure that.
I would have moved on, Ocho. Because he's not going to be the same guy in the locker room. They're not going to believe in him. The coaching staff don't believe in him. There's a reason they didn't give him the C again. There's a reason, Ocho. You know that you've got to do something really, really bad, something really egregious for you to be a captain 1 year, him being the player that he is, and then all of a sudden he's not the captain. Because nobody's going to let, bro, how you the captain? You quit of all people. If I give Ocho the C, I'll get if damn near my leg broke. Hey man, hey doc, what you think? It's broke, Ocho. Can you tape it up? Can I still go? Can I run a stop? You're gonna do everything you possibly can because you understand the importance of that C. You understand the importance of that leadership, and the guys look to you. Once that transpired, I said it's never gonna be the same. You know that. I know that. Everybody knows that. Now, people try to make it you old school. I'm telling you, quitting is the worst thing that you can do in a team game. Because if you're by yourself, you're a golfer or a tennis player. Who cares if you quit? You withdraw. You withdraw. Right. You got an injury and you can't continue. Okay. Hey, no. Who was that? Who was that? Was that somebody had a?
Now. I'm going to be honest here and say I don't know exactly what Shannon Sharp is talking about when he's saying Tyreek Hill quit. I mean, he's sound like he's saying Tyreek Hill quit on his team. Let me do my research on that. I'm not sure when that was the case. But, I mean, if that did happen, I'll do my research. I'll look that up. But if that did happen, I mean, yeah, that's definitely not a good look. That's definitely not a good look. That's a huge red flag. That's an unforgivable sin in football. If any player in any caliber in any league on any level quits on a football team, you gotta lose a lot of yeah. There's no coming back with that. There's no coming back with that. Like, but that was the thing with Anthony Richardson when he called himself out of the game. You don't see a player do that. I mean, well, let me rephrase that. You don't see a quarterback do that. Check himself out of the game, talk about how tired you are. That to me is going to follow Anthony Richardson for the rest of his career. I mean, and I need to see. I need to look up, see what Shannon Sharp is actually saying. You know what? A matter of fact, I can look it up right now. Let me see, because I didn't hear about Tyreek Hill quitting on his team, but let me see. Let's read the article. See if we can find an article about this. Okay, I found an article. So he did do this. I think it was in 2024. I found a couple articles. He definitely did it. All right, so this article was back in. Oh, I thought it had a date on here. Oh yeah. Oh, so this article was updated on 2026. So entering the 2025 season. Hold on, let me see if this on. I'm sharing this. Yeah, entering. Oh, hold on. My bad. My bad. Hold on. Give me a second. All right. Entering the 2025 season, the Miami Dolphins had a big question mark surrounding the future of superstar wide receiver Tyreek Hill. In the regular season finale of the 2024 season, he'll quit on the he'll quit on the team as he took himself out of the game in the second half, indicated to the media following the game that he wanted out of Miami. Hill would later retract that statement and try to mend fences with his teammates. The Dolphins and Hill's relationship seemingly improved as they opted not to trade him in the 2025 season. However, with Hill having a 51 million cap hit for the 2026 season, the Dolphins and Hill would have to agree to a contract restructure in order for Hill to stay in Miami. Unfortunately, the decision on Hill was likely made as the receiver dislocated his knee in week 4 on Monday Night Football. It was a shame for both sides as Hill was on pace for his second 100-yard game of the season. Yeah, I mean, he was still playing well. So, despite Hill reportedly being on track to return for week 1 of the 2026 season, he will likely do so for another team. That's a huge sign right there to me. Like, that injury that he faced was gruesome. I feel like for most players, it would have took them longer. It's taken him less than a year to come back with this. It's saying he's on track to return week 1. He got injured, I think, November. I believe he got injured in November. So, or October. I think it was like towards the end of October or maybe November. So, Hill's agent, Drew Rosenhaus, indicated that Hill plans to speak to the Dolphins after the season, but no news on a contract restructure has surfaced. The reporting around the situation has been that the Dolphins management will likely release Tyreek Hill and move to free up cap space. NFL Network insider Tom Pelissero reported that the NFL informed clubs today it is projecting a 2026 salary cap in the range of 301. We talked about this. 301.2 million to 305.7 million per club per source. That would represent another significant jump from this year's 279.2 million cap number and nearly 100 million more than the 208.2 million cap in 2022. Miami Herald writer Barry Jackson detailed the ramifications it would have for the Dolphins after the expected release of Tyreek Hill. Jackson said a cap at 305 million would leave the Dolphins about 25 million over. Releasing Tyreek Hill before March 11th would leave Miami less than 2 million above the cap. The Dolphins will need all the cap space they can get, as they are projected to have the fourth least cap space in the NFL. So that makes sense. They will also have to deal with the contract of Tua Tagovailoa, I always mess up his last name, who is set to carry a 56 million cap hit in 2026. So possible uses of cap space. Despite new general manager John Eric Sullivan preferring a draft and develop method, the Dolphins will likely have to re-sign some players this offseason. Both their all-pro selections will enter the final year of their contracts and will likely seek an extension. Additionally, Pro Bowl running back WR A.J is not eligible for an extension, and free agency. The Dolphins will likely not make a big splash as their salary cap situation and general manager's philosophy go against that. However, going after the free agent quarterback Malik Willis seems like a possible option the Dolphins might explore. They currently only have 3 quarterbacks on their roster, and one of them is Tua. I'm going to say Tua. I'm not even trying to say his name, who is not expected to remain with the team in 2026. So then freeing up Tua can also help them out too. So yeah, long story. So he did quit on his team. It was in 2024. He quit on his team when he was saying he wanted to play for another team, wanted to be traded. So yeah. I get what Shannon Sharpe is saying. I agree with Shannon Sharpe, because you can't do that. You can't like just take yourself out in the middle of the game and just be like, oh, I don't want to be here no more. Like, come on, bro. You can't do that. I feel like I this is just my opinion. This is a strong opinion. Strong opinion. I feel like maybe Tyreek Hill's problem was with Tua, and he just didn't say that out loud. Maybe his frustration was with the limitations of Tua. Now, with that being said, I think he was making some trouble when he was with the Chiefs as well. I don't know, man. I don't know. All I know is the Chargers need to go ahead and take a swing on him, because the Chargers is just not in a situation right now to not make moves on big name guys. We need guys in there. We need guys who can play. If Tyreek Hill can play, if he overcame that injury and he's back to at least 90% of what he was, 90% of Tyreek Hill is better than 90% of the receivers in the NFL right now. So, or maybe 95. So, yeah, I'll take that what you want with that, man. Well, I'll watch a little bit more of this and I'm probably gonna call it a night. Cause I got, yeah.
Oh, Djokovic was playing somebody in the semifinals, and the guy, he was up 2 sets to love, and he had to withdraw because he had an injury. Okay, he couldn't continue. But as a team, and the thing was, Ocho, he was healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the guys, and it got out that Waddle asked him, "Hey, Reed, you done?" You can't. The problem is, Ocho, what you have if you restructure at what number? Because he's going to deem it First of all, he's going to deem it disrespectful that you're cutting his pay based on what he's done. So now, what is the number that you and the team,
that's comfortable,
because you know the team is looking to be here. Tyreek and his representatives are looking to be here. Mm-hmm. Can we find somewhere in the middle?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, obviously, at some point, I'm not sure when it's going to be. You're going to see Tyreek Hill post videos showing how healthy he is. You're going to see him running. You're going to see him running routes, lateral movement, being able to accelerate, being able to stop, being able to transition and do some of the things he once was able to do. I think once those videos are posted on social media, then you're going to understand, okay, he's back. He's back. He might not be Tyreek of old, but even the same Tyreek of old, even if he loses the step, he's still faster and almost better than 98% of those that play his exact position. A lot of people, they mistake and allow the off-field stuff to kind of camouflage what he's done on the field. Right now, if he was to try today, he's a Hall of Famer.
I was trying to be so quick to pause what to pause this. I haven't watched this video at all. I was just curious to see what Ocho I was more curious to see what Ocho was going to say about this. Chad said everything that I pretty much was saying. Like, I haven't really paid attention to a lot. I said in the beginning of this video, I haven't really paid attention really a lot to the situations off the situation of Tyreek Hill. And to be quite frankly honest with you all, I really don't care about the all problems with Tyreek Hill. When Tyreek Hill was in his prime, they were comparing him to Randy Moss. That's how dangerous of a player Tyreek Hill was. I think, and I see some of these podcasts, these Charger podcasts, and this particular podcast, the Charter podcast, they've been knocking Tyreek Hill. They've been talking him since last year because it's always kind of been rumors that Tyreek Hill, that the Chargers could trade for Hill. And I'm not going to call out the Chargers podcast. I'm tempted to do it, but I'm not going to call them out. I think people already know who they are, who I'm talking about, but their takes on Hill is really stupid. It's really stupid. They don't want the Chargers to go after Tyreek Hill because they're saying that his off the field issues. And now that was before he got injured. They didn't want him at all. And it was just like, I don't want Tyreek Hill. He has off the field issues. And they started bringing up stuff that happened in college and all this other bull crap. You know what I'm saying? It's like guys are still playing. Guys have had opportunities to play in the NFL and to keep playing in the NFL who's done way worse than what Tyreek Hill has done. A lot of the stuff that I just keep hearing about with Tyreek Hill is a lot of like women problems. Like, there's a lot of men, welcome to Earth. There's a lot of men who has women problems. And like I said, we only hear the other side, especially when the media comes out. We don't hear both sides. We don't really know the truth. We don't really know what's going on in that household. Nobody really knows what's going on, what's truly going on. Unless it's Tyreek Hill and his girl. Those are the only two people who really, really knows what's going on. You can't really trust what the media is putting out there. So that's why I take a very, very low grain. I take a very small grain of salt of what the media says about these players, especially when it deals with situations between them and other women. You can't really trust that. I mean, it's jello journalism. That's literally what it is. It's jello journalism. And I'm just going to be honest. I really don't care. I mean, I don't know if Tyreek Hill ever been in jail. I don't know if he robbed somebody, killed somebody. I don't think any of that. I mean, so what are we talking about? We're talking about women problems, at home drama. I don't care. Like, you know how much family drama people got in this world? Like, it's whatever, man. Like, who cares? I don't care. All I know is like what Chad is saying, he's taking the words right out of my mouth. If he were to retire, yes, he will be a Hall of Famer. Like I said, when he was in his prime, they were comparing him to Randy Moss. That's how dangerous of a player he was. So, and to be quite frank, Charger fan base has no luxury to say they don't want a player of Tyreek Hill's caliber if we have the opportunity and if Tyreek Hill is interested in coming to LA. The Charger fan base, you all need to shut the hell up. The ones who saying that Tyreek Hill, that we don't want Tyreek Hill. Yes, we do. Or we need Tyreek Hill. We have never had a wide receiver in Tyreek Hill's caliber ever. Ever. And the closest player that we've had to Tyreek Hill's caliber was LaDainian Tomlinson. That's the only player that we have had that has been close to Tyreek Hill's greatness. It's LT. No, we need Tyreek Hill. Justin Herbert deserves a wide receiver like Tyreek Hill. So, again, the people who are saying no to Tyreek Hill, you don't know football. You're not watching, or you're probably watching the game, but you don't know the game. You don't know the type of effects that he has had on the game, the type of effects and the scary threat that he was to defenses. There was very few wide receivers that terrifies a defense. Tyreek Hill was that guy. And if he can come back in his form, it's a no-brainer for LA to sign him. No-brainer. No-brainer at all. So let me see I want to finish listening to what Ocho was saying about this. Again, I haven't even watched this. I just always sometimes be curious to see what they got to say.
If Tyreek Hill was to never play another down in the NFL, he is a Hall of Famer. He is a first ballot Hall of Famer. For those who don't know and probably said, Ocho,
we
shut
need
the
to
hell
get
up.
away from that first ballot. After they put T.O. and Coach Belichick in.
I understand because they allow off their stuff to overshadow what players have done on the field. Look at what he's done on the field. Look at his numbers to date. And obviously knowing Tyreek being 32, as fast as he is, he's probably not going to slow down anytime soon based on the way we've seen players come back from even gruesome injuries like this. I think he's going to be all right. But I feel he's a Hall of Famer based on what he's done thus far to date in the NFL.
I think the thing is also, Ocho, I think he should take his time. I think he had this injury. Yes. I think he did it in week 4. So he's about 5 months into his surgery. Rehab. He should be in no rush. You said his next move should be his best move.
That's got to be his best
I agree. Because the one thing, he left voluntarily Kansas City to go to Miami. Miami, he doesn't leave under the same circumstances. The last thing you want to happen, Ocho, is you go somewhere and then after a year they move on. So now what's the thing? He ain't the same player. So you start to bounce. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Now they ping pong you. And that's the last thing they want. Because like you said, he's coming off a gruesome injury and he's 32.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you what, y'all do realize, he was running 4.3 at 31. So yeah, I agree with you, Ocho. If I don't know if we've ever seen a player this fast have this gruesome of an injury. So we really don't know what he's going to be when he gets back, because that's a lot of downforce. That's a lot of deceleration and acceleration. If he can still accelerate, can he still get in and out of those breaks with the quickness? Can he still put fear?
Hey.
Go ahead. Can he still put fear?
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Now, Fat. Come here. All right, go ahead. Huh?
No, I think that's the biggest thing. We've never seen a player with this kind of speed to have this kind of gruesome injury, because the acceleration and the deceleration. Because the faster you go, because normally guys that run really fast, they have to throw that brake on there to get in and out of them brakes. That's not what Tyreek does. He can he can accelerate and decelerate with in the same.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very, very interesting to see. But I would take my time. I'm in no rush. I'm Tyreek. My resume speaks for itself. Yes. And they're going to ask him. They're going to bring him in. They're going to ask him what happened in that situation. They always do. They always do.
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. Understanding, knowing what he can do. It's about moving forward. I don't see them rehashing the past, because the past is not going to help what you're trying to do and what he can do in helping a team right now and trying to reach their end goal, especially the Kansas City Chiefs, based on them missing the playoffs last year and having struggles at that position. I think they'll be happy to bring him back, especially with Eric Bieniemy knowing how to use him the right way.
Let me ask you a question, and Chad, y'all can chime in. In a regular job, if you get fired of your regular job and you go to a new job, they ask you what happened in the old job, Ocho?
Sprout Smith number 3. It's just another grocery store.
With fresh organic produce everywhere,
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me skip it.
You know what? I like it, but it's a different environment with different leaders where he doesn't have to be that main one. You got Mahomes, you got some of those other fellas over there.
When you got to Coach Belichick, what did Coach Belichick ask you?
Oh, he ain't asked me nothing. I know what he did say when I first met him. Listen, welcome to the to New England. You know you're gonna have to change who you are to be here.
So, but you don't think,
and that was
when he go to a new team, they're not going to ask him anything about what transpired.
He's already been there, He's already been there. He's just coming back home.
He's been where?
In Kansas City before.
I get Kansas City. Kansas City, no, look, Kansas City saw some
Oh,
of the red
like if
flags
he goes,
that
if he goes somewhere else beyond
but
that.
I'm saying, but what if he doesn't go to Kansas City? What if he goes to Buffalo? What if he
Oh.
goes to the Charger? I'm not saying going to a familiar situation.
Right.
Yeah, they took Tyreek knowing what had transpired.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if Tyreek Hill goes to the Buffalo Bills, that's gonna be a terrible situation for both parties. I've already said this yesterday. Like, this is an unpopular opinion. Really, I'm gonna say it's not really an opinion, but to many of you, you think it may be an opinion. Josh Allen isn't a pure passer. He's not. He's not a great passer. That was the situation with him and Stephon Diggs. That was the situation with him and Stephon Diggs. And for those of you who don't know, Josh Allen really wasn't all that great of a quarterback until he got Stephon Diggs. He really wasn't doing anything until Stephon Diggs came over there. You saw with Stephon Diggs for Drake May. You know, Josh Allen, when they got Brian Dable and they got Stephon Diggs, that's when Josh Allen started doing his thing. Drake May situation, they got Josh Allen, got him Josh Daniels, got him Stephon Diggs. Drake May started doing his thing. Tyreek Hill is not the type of wide receiver for a quarterback like Josh Allen. I know I criticize Josh Allen a lot, but you guys overrate him a lot, so I have to. If Tyreek Hill goes back to the Chargers. If Tyreek Hill goes back to the Chiefs, fine. I wouldn't want to see that. It's going to be not fair. It's going to be dangerous. But you already know what he did with Mahomes. If he goes to the Chargers, it's going to be very similar to what he did in Kansas City and in Miami. I think you're going to see even more. Because, again, Justin Herbert is the most purest passer in the entire NFL. And Tyreek Hill goes to the Chargers. That offense is going to be extremely dangerous. You talk about Joe Alt, Rashawn Slater, then Marion Hampton, Kamani Vidal, then you talk about Ronda Gatson, and you talking about, like, I already broke it all down to you for Ladd and him, and he's never really had a true really good wide receiver on the opposite side of him. Ladd McConkey, to me, I don't think Ladd is like a true number one, but Ladd can run some routes, man. He's a really good route runner, and Ladd could probably evolve to a true number one. Ladd is only going into his third year, and we saw what Ladd did his rookie year. Now, a lot of people say Keenan Allen overshadowed Ladd, and that's why Ladd fell off. So we could say Ladd had a little bit of a sophomore slump, but it was looking like Ladd could be an actual true number one. Not just be a slot, but like be the wide receiver in the outside. Ladd will even tell you that he doesn't like even being called as a slot wide receiver. He wanted to be like, that true number one riding it out. That didn't work out for him this year. Keenan Allen came back. Keenan Allen got did all the work that Ladd would like to do. But I can't even blame that on Keenan Allen. I would just say it was a lack of productivity on Ladd's end. I have to blame Ladd for that, because I'm like, if you're that guy, you're that guy. It doesn't matter who's on that team. But you also got Ladd was young, so he's young. Keenan Allen's a vet. One of the Chargers OGs, and then you got a terrible play caller, offensive coordinator in Greg Roman. So there was a lot of adversity for a young wide receiver like Ladd McConkey to overcome, this year. But now that you got Mike McDaniel, and then you got, so I'm going to say Hill never really had a wide receiver like Ladd McConkey on the opposite side of him. You can only imagine. And then if we probably keep Keenan Allen, it looks like Keenan Allen wants to stay in LA, or he's going to retire. It's going to be scary, man. And I don't know if they'll be very interesting to see what they will do with QJ and the other wide receivers. You got KLS and Trey. That'll be very interesting. But let me see I'm gonna finish seeing what they gotta say, and then I'm gonna I'm gonna end it there.
beforehand. So they have an understanding of who Tyreek is.
sir.
But San Diego, LA, the Chargers don't.
Right.
Buffalo does not. Maybe any other teams does not. So I need to get a sense. I need to get a feel to make sure this situation doesn't arise again. Go ahead, Ocho.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think we have any issues. Obviously, the off-field stuff it overshadows what he's done on the field.
No, that was on the
And
field. That
obviously
wasn't off the
having
field. I know. I understand
I
his
don't
wife and the
think
divorce and the kids. I don't care nothing about. Hopefully,
yeah.
the allegations about DV isn't true. I hope the kids. The kid, hey, that happened. I don't care. I don't care if he got a baby, one baby mama, two baby mama. That ain't got nothing to do. I don't care about that. But what I'm only talking about what transpired the last game of the regular season when he was fully healthy.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. Y'all know that's what I'm like. I'm just being completely honest. Like, pretty much what I just said. That's what Sean was saying. I was saying, like, I don't care about, and I said, I haven't watched this episode. Like, this is a 20-minute episode, like 20-minute clip. I'm not gonna watch all of it. I'm gonna watch it when I close because I don't know what else they're gonna talk about, and I don't want to just keep watching it. And but anyway, they pretty much are reiterating everything that I'm telling you all. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Like, I can care, like, all that stuff, that the allegations. Don't buy into that nonsense. I mean. Unless he got in trouble with legal problems, who cares about all the other drama? You know what I'm saying? Whatever, man. Who do y'all know? Like, I mean, it's whatever. It's not even worth talking about. But yeah. Now that's what I said. Now this thing. Now this is what I'm being honest. Like, waiting on your team, that's a huge red flag. That's an unforgivable sin in football. So yeah. Let me finish. I'm gonna let Unc finish his statement, and I'm gonna close.
That's it. And I'm not chat, and I don't want you to look. I'm not trying to minimize it. I'm just saying we're talking about because all that, and they might even ask him about that.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about on the field play. That's what Ocho and I are discussing. Yes, DV is bad. And so I'm not trying to, because y'all know you're going to try to parse words and they're going to flip it and say, oh, don't care. I do care. But I'm not asking him about that because I can read and I'm going to ask him, who knows? Maybe they call her. I don't know. Maybe they get the police report and deduce what they can from that. All I'm saying is what transpired the last game of the regular season a year and a half ago. That's what's going to be the major concern for teams. All the teams, maybe not Kansas City because they know who Reek is. Andy's very familiar with him. Brett Veach is familiar with him. Obviously, EB is familiar with him. Kelsey, Mahomes, everybody. I saw Chris Jones, Cheetah, had the clock.
Yes.
So, but I'm just saying, I think in a situation like that, Ocho, you get asked those questions. Because it'd be, a great person to be had on tonight would be asked T.O. Because T.O. went from San Fran, he went to Philly, from Philly to Dallas, Dallas to. So, did they ask you anything about what transpired at the previous stops?
Okay, great.
All right.
Wait.
All right, so I guess we can stop there. But hey, man. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens with Rick Hill, or Tyreek Hill. I mean, I guess that's kind of his name, but with Cheetah, and like I told you all, I'm gonna keep you all updated with the Tyreek Hill saga, and I'm gonna follow him every step of the way until he returns next year, because he's just a fun, exciting player to watch. I mean, guys like him in the league, it makes the league better, and yeah. So if you all want more, you know where to find me. You know what to do. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and we'll be back tomorrow all day. And I'm still thinking and brainstorming, deciding if I'm going to change the platform to No Days Off NDO. You all let me know what you think about that. And yeah, so I'll keep you updated on that as well. But right now, It's still all day. Deuces.